Hello everyone, welcome to the EPG Pathshala program. Myself Dr. Shubhabrato Dotto. I am Professor and Head, Department of Social Work, Assam University, Silchar. Now in this session we will discuss the module Institutional Mechanism for Rural Development under the course Rural Development. Rural Development Program to be run into the country, and it is a huge, vast country. More than 70% population living into the rural areas. So definitely it requires institutions who will channelize or deliver the programs. So for this, Government of India has its own mechanism. That is the focus of this module. The Government of India runs its large-scale rural development schemes mainly through the Ministry of Rural Development. That is the top. National Bank for Agriculture and Rural Development, that is in short form called NABARD, and Khadi and Village Industries Commission, in short it is called KVIC. Besides some autonomous bodies like District Rural Development Agency, DRDA, National Institute of Rural Development, NIRD, National Rural Road Development Agency, NRRD, and Council for Advancement of People's Action for Rural Technology, that is known as CAPART. National Institutes of Rural Development are also working in tandem with the government for a better rural India. So these are the prominent certain institutions under the ministry are working. The Ministry of Rural Development was set up as a full-fledged ministry in 1979. The ministry consists of three departments: Department of Rural Development, Department of Drinking Water Supply, and the Department of Land Resources. In India, the Ministry of Rural Development is the apex body for formulating policies, regulation and acts relating to the development of rural sector. The Directorate of Panchayati Raj and Rural Development are also there for the execution of the programs. In the latter stage I will come. To execute the programs of rural development, Government of India has arranged institutional mechanism to deliver to the grassroots level. Because from the ministry to the village, there is a huge roads are there. How to run this road? How we should go on? How the program to be carried? That is the issue. There are a number of government bodies who looks after the various schemes and programs. At the foremost, Panchayati Raj institutions, in short form it is called PRIs. All other institutions execute their program through PRIs. The different government bodies are discussed below in connection to the rural development. In short form, what I am saying, actually PRIs is the apex one. In the villages and specifically in the district level, it is the body through which everyone will enter for their implementation. Now, one prominent agency is there is the District Rural Development Agency. District Rural Development Agency has traditionally been the principal organ at the district level to oversee the implementation of poverty alleviation programs. Specifically, supervision, monitoring guidelines they could provide. However, keeping in view the need for an effective agency at the district level to coordinate the poverty alleviation programs, a new certainly sponsored scheme for strengthening the DRDAs was introduced in the 1st April 1999. Under the scheme, the staff costs of DRDA establishments are made by the central and the state government at a ratio of 75:25. What is the meaning of that? Actually, DRDA was there, but to make it more strengthened with various kind of staff so that it can monitor, it can look after the programs, and sometimes it can directly implement certain programs in specific cases. So providing the staffs and proper building and infrastructure, certain funds allocated with a proper ratio of 75 by the central and 25 by the state. The DRDAs are expected to coordinate effectively with the line department, the Panchayati Raj institutions, the banks and the other financial institutions, the NGOs as well as technical institutions with a view to gathering support and resources required for poverty reduction effort in the district. I am giving an example. One specific technological based program to be implemented. People require skill training. Where they will do it? Maybe Janasikhan Sansthan is there. So DRDA will ask and coordinate with the Janasikhan Sansthan to provide that specific training to be given, number one. Panchayat will ask to identify who will be the beneficiaries for that. They will write to the bank for arrange finances for providing them loans for running these programs. So this is the task. Even certain NGOs may be invited to properly guiding the villagers to implement the program. So these are the 3-4 different bodies are there. To coordinate with them, DRDA is the prime institutions. District Rural Development Agencies have been working in partnership with the various line departments for the implementation of different programs through mobilizing and organizing the community people. DRDAs have been facilitating with credit to the poor, specifically needy, through the formation of SHs. For the study, the most selected NGOs, specifically DRDA, worked as a partner with the SHGs formation, conducting different training programs and construction facilities through different schemes like earlier SGSY, which is now Pradhan Mantri Sadak Yojana, and others. Another one, Council for Advancement of People Action and Rural Technology, that is called in short form CAPART. Council for Advancement of People Action for Rural Technology is an autonomous body registered under Societies Registration Act 1860, constituted in 1986, and it's functioning under the agencies of the Ministry of Rural Development. Actually, it is a government-framed non-government organization for its own. It is fully funded, supported by the ministries, but it is an autonomous for framing its own objectives, programs and issues. CAPART is involved in catalyzing and coordinating the emerging partnership between the voluntary organizations and the Government of India for sustainable development in rural areas. Actually, it is identifying different NGOs, non-government organizations, who are working or would like to work into the rural areas and asking the government for fund and other support. So it is a coordinating agency. Since its inception, CAPART has initiated various programs in the rural development directly through NGOs in various states and a large number of districts in the country. Since here, CAPART's initiatives are not being channelized to the state departments of the district administration, monitoring, evaluation and selection of NGOs is done directly by the CAPART headquarters and its regional offices. So it is specifically coordinating selection and procession continuation of the rural development work. Another one is State Institute of Rural Development, SIRD. The State Institute of Rural Development is an apex body in the broad field of training and research in rural development. Actually continuously, for example, different block development officers, agriculture institution extension officers are being appointed in the different districts. They are actually the civil servant, directly came after the competitive examinations and others, examinations and others. Now, they may not be properly trained for different agricultural programs and others. They require training. Where they will take the training? For this, SIRD have been instituted, and this SIRD registered under the again Society Registration Act in 1860 during April 1998, and thereafter administrative and financial autonomy was conferred by the government to SIRD. And SIRD is continuously arranging trainings. Even the CAPART identified certain as NGOs. NGO members require training, they will be referred to SIRD. So this is the SIRD's activities and how the combination is going on. The function and objectives of SIRD is to building capacity through skill orientation training program on management development, technological support, skill upgradation, etc. for self-employment in rural areas by taking up economically viable activities. So different training they will conduct on the issues. For example, new scheme, NREGA, National Rural Employment Guarantee Scheme or Act, when it was implemented, most of the BDOs have been asked to come and take a training session on the workshop attend under the SIRD to get idea of the training, what are the objectives, how it is expected to be implemented, how the 100 days to be covered. So these are the issues are in there. It is like the skill development lab run by the SIRD. SIRD also conduct seminar, workshops on education, health, sanitation, drinking water, social justice, equity, social problems, etc. for officials and non-officials, and representatives of line departments, NGOs and CBOs. CBOs means community-based organizations, to make people aware about issues and problems and to organize awareness campaign at the field level about socio-economic status and welfare programs launched by the government for rural development of the rural areas. Actually, those are the people who will directly work at the community level or the village level or the district level. They are supposed to be oriented different schemes and programs implemented, initiated by the government at the SIRT. SIRT have their experiment labs, SIRT have libraries, SIRT have many other facilities to get trained over there. Another one is Rural Industries Consultancy Service Cells, that is called RICS. In few states it is in there, and that is under the KVIC. KVIC has launched Rural Industries Consultancy Services, under which first generation entrepreneurs are provided services such as project formulation, coordination with the banks, technical backup, marketing support, etc. Such initiatives will help new entrepreneurs to set up projects which will be more viable and better manageable. Actually, KVIC, Khadi and Village Industrial Commission, they want that direct some of the institutions who will be prepared the people to get their support. The scheme for fund generation and traditional industries, that is basically in short form called SFURTI. Ministry of Macro, Small and Medium Enterprises, Government of India has introduced the scheme called Scheme for Fund for Regeneration of Traditional Enterprises. Under the scheme, KVIC will support at least 500 traditional artisans in a cluster and skill upgradation, marketing through NGOs. This is a 5-year project for overall growth of traditional industry and for generating sustainable income for the artisans. KVIC is a nodal agency for the program in Northern Eastern region, and 10 Shruti cluster development program under the village industry sectors are being implemented. Specifically in the Northeast, this target was taken. Now, what are the administration of rural development? These are the, so far we discussed, the different bodies are there, how different bodies are taken care of the different work, training and issues. Now, direct administration. And the word administration has a different connotations. Presently, it refers to the government. According to encyclopedia, administration is a process of managing and performing functions. Rural development administration here is concerned with rural development, is called rural development administration. That means where the process, management and all other issues looked after by a system, that will be called as an administration. And here, rural development issues look after the administration will be treated as rural development administration. And rural development administration connotes that arrangement in which planning, organizing, coordination and control of human and physical resources is done for exhaustive development of the rural areas. I am giving one example. National Rural Employment Guarantee Scheme or Pradhan Mantri Gramin Awas Yojana. If it is going to be implemented, how it will be there? Who will get the benefit? What should be the criteria to get a beneficiaries? This is the issues are there in front of it. How it has been done? Number one, first there will be a meeting and it will be identified who are the beneficiaries, maybe 5,000 beneficiaries. Now, how many housing to be provided? 300. So, out of this 5,000, how this 300 will be selected? So, that means certain priority based criteria to be emerged, to be developed. And accordingly, the priority wise first 300 will be given, next 300 will be given. This way it will goes on. So, this is actually the entire where this identification, plan, organization and control has been made. And as well as Indian rural areas, resources are less, but the demands are more. That means the optimum use of resources should be made. And who will do it? It is the administration who will identify these are the resources and make sure that the best use are being done. Make sure the duplication are not being made. Maybe certain NGOs, as we already discussed, different organized bodies are there. Certain NGOs have offering certain programs to a group of people. Make sure the same group of people are not getting the similar supports by the another body. That means duplication to be avoided. So this is the task are run by the administration. Now, Panchayati Raj institutions, PRIs, that is basically the corridor of the rural development. Already I said that is the main body through which all implementation program will be done. Without PRIs, no program by the rural development by government is possible, because that is the rural local self-government. 20th April 1993, getting the assent from the President of India, 73rd Constitutional Amendment Act 1992 was brought into the force via government notification, which provides new look, dimension and power to the Panchayati Raj institution as a weapon for rural development. Now let me say something on it. Actually, Panchayat was existed in India long back. Even if we just see Ramayana and Mahabharata, you'll find Panch was there. Okay. So even before independence, every village has an administration. That was Panchayat. After independence, that continued. Every states, according to their own ability, Panchayat were running and Panchayat were given power and certain control to exercise. Some states in the 70s, like West Bengal, like Kerala, they actually empowered the Panchayat. They thought that is the decentralized procession, the rural administration to be run. Later on, and the different studies have already conducted. 1957, Balwantrai Mehta Committee conducted a study on the Panchayati Raj. Then in the 70s, another Mehta Committee also conducted the studies on Panchayati Raj. And after the various recommendations from these, the new Panchayati Raj Institution Act as a 73rd Amendment takes place. And it has been said the best innovation in the independent India is the 73rd Amendment, where actually villagers got the power to become the government. A slogan is there, in villages we are the government. In the state or in the capital in Delhi, the government is our government, but in the villages we are the government. So that is actualizes when this amendment has taken place. It becomes evident that more egalitarian and balanced development to be achieved, a more participatory, democratic and decentralization and a bottom-up model of development is needed. That if you actually want that development will take place, then decentralized process to be initiated and it should be a bottom-up approach. That means planning should take place at the village itself, not at the central level. And then automatically it should reach to the central, from where the financial and other technical support to be generated at the villages level. For example, if a village in Kerala or if a village in Nagaland, what problem actually is in there, it may not be the similar. Some similarities may be there, but at the actual level there are certain differences. That is not possible to understand sitting at the central level. So let the plan be there and let the plan to reach to the central and to think on that for the betterment in that. So the 73rd Constitutional Amendment provides that there shall be a three-tiered system of panchayats. How? A village, intermediate block and district level. And the states we have that less than 20 lakhs population, like in Pondicherry, there will be a two-tier, the village and at the district. Intermediate block will not be there. And it has certain features. That is, the seats in panchayats at all three levels shall be filled up by the direct election. In all panchayats, seats will be reserved for the SCs, STs in proportion of their population. If the ST population is more, accordingly that will be reserved. It is not certain proportion, 70%, 15% like this. According to, in some district, in a state, in a particular district, there may be 90% SC population is there. So automatically seats will be reserved on that favor. And the offices of the chairperson of the panchayat, that is president or the specifically president at the panchayat, at the block level or at the district level, will also be reserved in favor of the SCs and STs in proportion to their population, and 1/3 of the total number of the seats, irrespective of the SCs, STs general, will be reserved for women. That is the 33%. That is the one of the uniqueness that amendment have made. The newly set up of Panchayati Raj institution introduced Gram Sabha, a body consisting of persons registered in the electoral rolls relating to a village comprised with in the area of panchayat at the village level. And the Gram Sabha is a forum in the system where people participate directly and express the collective aspiration, wisdom and will of the people. Face to face participatory democracy can be practiced. Now I am giving the example of that. in a particular constituencies or in a village. Now from the Gram Sabha, now there is a concept of Gram Sanshad also. In the Gram Sabha, all the voters of a panchayat, maybe there are 7,000 voters, they will form the Gram Sabha and discussion will take place over there like a general body meeting. Now after the initiation of that, 7,000 population and meeting were also being difficulties. Now after that, Gram Sanshad, more closer to the people, have been initiated. In the Gram Sanshad, one constituency is member, maybe 700, maximum 1200 to 1300. That people will come and they will discuss every 3 months, 6 months, likewise as the panchayat will create the notice. And all planning to be done over there, which roads to be constructed, which culverts to be constructed, where the water reservoir to be made, who will get the what kind of benefit, everything to be discussed over there. Okay, and it is not mandatory whether the time of election the electoral person has given a vote or not. He is anyway by default a member, whether he exercises the voting rights or not, that is not an issue. Okay, and from there it will come to the panchayat will frame and it will go to the block to district and automatically it will frame the total program. Now, what are the significance of the Rural Development Administration? Rural Development Administration is significant due to its rapidly rural development. If you want to properly and in a space rural development programs, you require administration, and strong administration can make the things done. Coordination between rural development agencies, already we discussed number of agencies, that is DRDA, that is CAPART, that is NABARD are in there, so it has to be coordinated. Efficient direction, which direction it should goes on, it should be an efficient guidelines is required, for which the people who are administering are getting training at the SIRT. Efficient use of financial resources, already I stated the resources are less, requirement is more, so that means maximum utilization of the financial whether the human resources to be utilized. Development according to the government priorities. How government prioritize? Government prioritize as per the need framed by the people in the planning process. Balanced rural development, that means certain areas are continuously improving, certain areas are lagging in a particular district or maybe district versus district. That should not be, there should be certain balance. And the personnel management, that means people, whether the secretary in the panchayat, whether the staff members at the block, whether the technical people at the district level, they should have properly managed, they should be trained, they should be efficient, and they should be interested enough to activate. Administration at the state level. The state governments have direct responsibility for implementing the rural development programs. The rural development administration at the state level plays a crucial role in the process of rural development. The state level at the state level, most of the rural development programs implemented by the Department of Rural Development. Already I said at the ministry there is a rural development, at the state level also there is a Department of Rural Development, and accordingly there should be coordination and communication between the two central and the state, and state accordingly will coordinate the program for the district levels. Now administration at the district level, that is the most vital. District Rural Development Agency is the principal organ at the district level to manage and oversee the implementation of different anti-poverty programs of the Ministry of Rural Development, and that should be done in tandem with the Jila Parishad, because Jila Parishad is to directly handle the finances and administrative issues. DRDA is supervising agencies. The primary objective of the scheme DRDA administration is to personalize the DRDA so that they are able to effectively manage the anti-poverty programs of the Ministry of Rural Development and interact effectively with other agencies like Jila Parishad, like blocks and others. Administrative setup at a block level. The block has been made the unit for the implementation of the community development program since 1952. In India actually, the community development program starts 2nd October 1952 at the Gandhi's birthday. The block development officers is the key functionary in the block level administration. The BDO is the executive officer of the Panchayat Samiti after the introduction of the new Panchayati Raj. That means BDO is as a secretary, the executive officer. The planning officer, planning part is falling in the legislative body, that is the Panchayat Samiti, where the president is the head. The BDO is not only the head of the office of the Rural Development Administration at the block level, but also supervisory officer over the Gram Panchayats. Because after the block, there are a number of 6, 7, 8 to 12 Gram Panchayats are there. So Gram Panchayat Supervisory Officer is also the BDO. The village level workers, VLW or the Gram Sevak, is the talent for the rural development administration. They are actually the Gram Sevak who actually make the linkage between the villagers and the administration. Now, village level administration, that means it is the panchayat. Already we have discussed, there is a secretary and there is a panchayat members are there who conduct the different programs, conduct the different planning meetings at the Gram Sanksad and Gram Sabha levels. Now it is only in the Gram Sanksad level, and after that it takes an executive meeting at the Gram Panchayat level and it comes to the block. Now at the conclusion of if we just summarize, the government runs its large-scale rural development schemes mainly through the Ministry of Rural Development, National Bank for Agriculture and Rural Development, there is NABARD, Khadi and Village Industries Commission KVIC, besides some autonomous bodies like District Level Rural Development Agency, National Institute of Rural Development, National Rural Road Development Agencies, and Council for Advancement of People Action and Rural Technology, that is CAPART. National Institute of Rural Development are also working in tandem with the government for a better rural India. NIRD actually, specifically, it is also running the training programs at the national level. Sometimes some of the NGOs top level officers, some of the government top level officers, they go and take training into the NIRD, and NIRD continuously conduct the research activities and provide suggestions and impact factor to the ministries as a supportive organization, and from which the ministry continuously prepare its schemes and programs and changes its administrative policies. Thank you.